Thank you everyone for joining for this mock IEP. We are going to be discussing Miss Jane Smith. I know that we're all very excited to get into this and find the ways that we can best support Miss Jane in her education journey. So this is for Miss Jane Smith. She is in Bangor Townships at Bangor Elementary School. The reasons she is receiving special education is because of other health impairments. So she is due currently to get 150 to 250 minutes, 1 sessions per week. So that's every day she goes into the special education room twice. So she goes in for 30 minutes for math, she goes in for 30 minutes for reading, and that is every day, as well as she also has paraprofessional support inside of the classroom during those times as well, for when she is not in the special education classroom. So as far as everyone's role here, the role of the special education teacher is she's going to go over the level of learning that Miss Jane's going to have with the current curriculum that is designed for her grade level, as well as typical expectations for students in regular education classrooms. This is going to go with any modifications she has in the program, other strategies that could potentially help there. So she's going to also go over the IEP in general and review all of the contents. That includes outlining the strategies for implementation, establishing goals, determining whether the student will be placed in a general education or special education setting, and specifying the extent of the student's involvement with peers. The principal in this mock IEP will assume the role of the school's representative, and she will provide necessary input to facilitate the process of meetings and contribute to decision-making processes regarding resources as well as objectives. So that means that she can kind of give us ideas about what different things we might be able to offer Miss Jane. Now, our parent is here because they are able to provide very important information for the IEP team. Lots of details regarding Miss Jane's strengths, her weaknesses, things that are going on at home that might feed into the school environment, behavior patterns, observations of her child's learning styles, preferences, and aversions, as well as their general area of interest, which is very important for us to know, so we can make sure that Jane is getting all of the support she needs inside of the school. So the role of the special education administrator encompasses acting as a representative for the school system. That means possessing knowledge of the school education system, conducting reviews of school resources. So as for the required agenda outline, this is going to be an annual IEP review that we do every year. So this is nothing new, we're just kind of catching up, determining what she's available for now, what goals we need to set going forward for her. So the people to be present are the special education teacher, which is Miss Amy Cohaney, our general education teacher, which is Angela Wilcox, our service coordinator, which is Emma O, her mother, Janet Smith, and the student teacher, myself, which is Alyssa Lorenz, and then, of course, our wonderful principal, Sarah Rivard. So as far as Miss Jane's testing goes for state and district assessments, we do not have access to the state assessments. Of course, I know that Jane does at home for the M-STEP, which was last year's test. So for BAS, that's her reading levels. In the fall, she tested at an H. Her goal by the end of the year is to be at a K, and she's currently at an I, so she's making very good progress there. Her NWEA reading started at a 177 in the fall and is going to have a goal of 188 this spring. Her NWEA math score in the fall was 174, and her goal will be 178. So they're pretty close, and there wasn't a huge loss there either. I think she only went down a couple of points. For her Moby Max, it was 2.3 for this fall. We do not have a goal set for this spring. So as far as the goals and objectives that we're going to be going over, we're going to be going over her reading goal statements and updates, as well as her math goals statements and updates. In regards to other things, as far as speech goes, the student does not receive services for speech at this time. As far as OT goes, the student does not receive those services at this time. Regarding PT, the student does not receive those services at this time. Regarding having an extended school year, we do not feel like this is something that Ms. Jean needs at this time. As for the way that we contacted home, we had a phone call to discuss the meeting, and then we also sent a reminder home. For the accommodation update, for ELA, she has text-to-speech to help with test questions, writing, and to answer options. For universal tools, she has the assessment. She has the option of having an assessment individually or within a small group of no more than 5 students. For math, she has the use of counters, that's coins, base 10 blocks, or other manipulative for solving mathematical problems. In regard to her supports for math, she also has text-to-speech for math items, including response options to follow along. With math, she also has the option to have individual or small group assessments with no more than 5 students. So as far as Jane's measurable goals go by, so her measurable annual goal for reading is by November, when given a one-step storing problem, she will be able to identify necessary options to solve and calculate the solution correctly in 4 out of 5 trials based on work samples. So as far as short-term objectives go, we want her to be able to identify when addition problems are, like when the problem is addition, 4 out of 5 trials based on work samples. We want her to be able to correctly identify when to use subtraction in a story problem. Again, solve 4 out of 5 trials based on sample works. And she will be able to identify when to use multiplication in a story problem and correctly solve 4 out of 5 trials based on work samples. For reading, Jane will increase basic reading levels by correctly reading 90% of the district primer, first grade, and second grade sight words, adult words, based on teacher assessment. Now, as far as her measurable short-term goals go, by November, Jane will correctly read 45% of the district primer, first grade, and second grade sight words, lists, which are Dolch words, based on teacher assessment. By December, Jane will increase basic reading skills by correctly reading 90% of the district primer, first grade, and second grade sight list words, based on teacher assessment. So, I know that that's been a lot, so I want to also add on that our goal is to work with the parents to have transparent and sincere communication. I would like for us to utilize up-to-date and precise data as well as information from parents so that we can make sure that Jane is getting all of the things that she needs at school. I want to make sure that this is an emotional and academic safe space for Jane so that she has everything she needs to be a successful student. I would also love to make sure that we are hearing our parents, and I would love to open the floor to them to have them address anything that they're seeing at home that they feel needs to be added into our goals, or just anything that they're concerned about at home before we even begin, just so we have a good starting point. From there, I would go on and listen to them and then type things in, get things filled out. As far as this goes, I will say that the frustrating part about all of this is that it is wildly different than the actual Michigan IEP plan. Because like looking back and forth between these is crazy because ours are so much, they're different. They're very, very different. Like for our IEPs, you don't do a lot of the stuff that you do it for Arizona. Ours are a lot more straightforward. Like these are numbers, this is the data, this is the goals, these are our comments, these are her strengths, these are her weaknesses, and so forth. So that's very interesting how this is one is set up for sure. And in ours, it would go a lot differently than this one right here. I've observed a couple of them so far, which has been very insightful. And yeah, hopefully I would end the IEP with, a smile, wishing them warm wishes, because I know a lot of the students' parents already, just from my other dual program. I've actually already met Miss Jane's mom, and I've had lovely conversations with her. So as far as any conflicts go, I would try to be listening to the parent. I would try to make sure I stand firm in, okay, these are what we're doing in the classroom for sure. What can we modify to make you more comfortable, or what things do we need to add for you to be comfortable with the support your child is receiving? Because I feel like that's really important, to be listening to the parent and make sure that they are being heard. Obviously, it's not always going to be okay, we're going to implement this. Sometimes it's more of a, okay, I hear your concern. What we can do is we can watch this and see if it targets or affects any of these different areas. So, all right, thank you very much.